Welcome back to the Real Couchwives Podcast, where we overanalyze all things Bravo. Today is a sad day, guys. Vanderpump Rules has officially been rebooted. The entire OG cast is out. They're coming back with a new cast. VPR as we know it is over. This is the end of an era.
It's the end of an era. It's just the saddest day. I guess we all saw it coming, and yet I can't believe it. I don't want to believe it, actually.
It still hurts the same. This is also on the heels of Schwartz and Sandy's closing, which yesterday we thought was the biggest news to come out of Bravo, and we actually filmed an episode on it. But alas, we're going to talk about how the cast is reacting to this news, how we are reacting to this news, and why we think this happened and what this means. Are we going to be watching the new show? I don't know. I have feelings. Probably, though. Let's be real.
I think on the cusp of all of us kind of being like, Roni reboot, Southern Hospitality, like, all these like new shows that like aren't really... Even Vanderpump Villa, like, it hard.
Vanderpump Villa was so bad.
Vanderpump Villa was so bad. It feels hard to feel excited about the prospect of a new cast. So yeah, I definitely really want to mourn Vanderpump Rules for what it was, and just all the good times it gave us.
It's so true, and actually, that's how the cast is reacting too, right? Like everyone is putting out these kind of like tribute, like almost like in memoriam, like types of posts. Even like Andy wrote like, this was the best day of our lives. And he's posting like, pictures he has from the reunions. Everyone's kind of just like posting. Apparently the cast just found out, the night before it broke. Apparently they weren't super surprised. Everyone was like, check on Sheena. Like, has anyone like checked on Sheena?
And weirdly, I don't think I've heard from Sheena. Have we heard from Sheena yet?
She did post at the end. She had a nice post. She was like, thanks for checking on me. And just kind of like thanking the production and the crew and just like it being a really great experience, which overall is how like everyone is reacting to it. I don't think Sandoval has said anything yet, actually.
I haven't seen anything on Sandoval either. I've seen like Tom Schwartz, James Kennedy, Ariana, Katie, Lala.
Did you see what Schwartz put out?
The Friends thing?
Yeah, he was like, this is how it replays in my mind. And then it was like the Friends theme song. And then it was just like all of the like iconic scenes. Honestly, I didn't expect to be this emotional. Like, I was really upset yesterday, which is when this broke, because of the time differences. I had to go to sleep. Iris had to have a whole day, and then we could regroup.
Yeah, exactly. Now here we are to process our feelings at least a little bit. Yeah, I know. And like, even it's so emotional. I feel like I've never seen a kind of like a reboot like happen like this before, right? Like, we've never had this experience. When Roni happened, like, we were very much like ready for like the old cast to kind of like go away a little bit. And even when they like announced it, like there wasn't this like big kind of like in memoriam happening, like the nostalgia.
No, I think they just kind of like, they just like slowly went into the sunset. Like they went out back and like no one really.
And maybe that was different too, because they were kind of like, oh, we're gonna do like Roni Legacy, like something will be happening. But but Vanderpump Rules, like we might never see these people again.
I mean, they do say in the article that there's always going to be a place for the Vanderpump Rules OG cast on the network. I mean, we know that Sheena, Lala, and Schwartz will be on the Valley a bit, but like even when we heard that was happening, we were like, that's not what we want. Like, this isn't the answer.
It's like the last thing we want.
They said that they're going to do kind of like a retrospective episode leading into the new one. So we are going to see the cast again. I guess we are going to get to do like a little bit of a goodbye to them. But yeah, it was really like, it was a moment yesterday. Like, and that just encapsulates all of Vanderpump Rules, right? Like, it truly was iconic. It was like, it took on the lights of its own. People are calling it the best reality television show of all time, which I've always said, and like
stand by it. Literally. I know. Well, and I don't know if you're familiar with the Sister Wives of TLC at all. But interestingly, so I guess I had this thought process because I was, scrolling through TikTok watching clips of Sister Wives season 19, as one does, and basically what's happening in Sister Wives this season is like all of the wives except for one has like left Cody, who's like the, you know, the one man in the relationship, in the polygamous relationship. And so season 19 is kind of like them walking us through the breakups and also kind of like taking a look back. And actually the season is like a retrospective of their lives more than anything. And like watching those TikTok clips last night made me just wish that that's what Vanderpump Rules could have ended on. And so I'm glad to hear there's going to be a something, but I would love like a documentary style, like let's look back, let's rehash this one more time, like let's get something out of this. I don't know.
Honestly, we're just gonna have to go and do our own rewatches. I don't think it's bad. I think there's a lot of feelings around this, right? It's just like we will just never recreate that lightning in a bottle. Like it was like the first at least 5 seasons, honestly, probably more, were just like they were everything. Like you literally could not make this stuff up. I almost got into a fight with someone who was like, it seems scripted. And I'm like, you shut your mouth. This is raw and real.
Blasphemy. How dare you? I can't believe that. That's so mean. What even? I wish it was scripted. They couldn't come up with this. You
couldn't script this stuff, honestly. Like no. OG Stassi, just like, and they've tried, clearly, right? Like look at Vanderpump Villa, like the new people were clearly taking notes and trying to recreate this, and that's my biggest fear. So anyway, so there's that. There's just mourning the OG cast, which, let's be real, it hasn't been that in a while. So I think we're also just kind of like going back to being like, we just wish it could be this again, but we know that it can't. And like, going into the season, like, was it going to be everything that we wanted? Probably not, but at least it wouldn't have gone out in this incredibly sad and frustrating way after last season.
I know, and that's just it. And so many people are like posting on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff the final scene that we got from Vanderpump Rules at the end of season 11 last year, and how they were like, they told us, like they gave us that the really sad of montage. The series. And they basically like tied it up with a bow perfectly so that the show couldn't come back with this cast, and we were all just in denial about the fact of that.
I thought they were just like hedging their bets and being like, just in case.
I know.
Well, so this is it. So we're just like, we're so upset. We love this cast. And then the second part is also like, it's been 11 years. Like, and I'm a newer fan. Like, I only discovered this like the past few years. And then I've just gone so deep into the rabbit hole that it, has become my business.
You've been a fan at least like 5 years. Like, I think that
oh my God.
You started watching this before the Panini.
Okay, well, that's just terrifying because I feel like that was like 2 years. But okay, right. So it's been like 5 years. But I haven't been there since the beginning, and it still hurts just the same. Like, I am so invested. Like, I feel like I've grown up with these people for 5 years. They grew really quickly in like an amount of time.
We all grew up really quickly in those 5 years.
That's true. But this is the thing. It's just like, so we love the cast. And for them to be like, you know what the answer is? We're going to go back to Sir, and we're going to bring in Lisa, who people have been saying doesn't really have a part in this anymore. And we're just going to recreate it, and it's going to be the exact same, and you're going to love it. And it's like, we love the people. Yeah, the premise was cool, but like the premise only worked because the people were so chaotic and messy, and this was just like moments in their own life.
Yeah. Well, and like literally last week, 2 weeks ago, when we were filming, like I was talking about how like the thing that I'm having an issue with these new reboots is I'm not connected. I don't feel like things for these people. And obviously, like, maybe we have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they can recreate that. But like, I felt so much so instantly for like all of these people, right? Like I didn't like get onto this show and feel nothing. Like I was like instantly forming opinions about Jax and Tom and Katie and Stassi and all of them, and like they were able to give us that like visceral reaction that really hooked us in. And it's not an easy thing to do, and like to just discount them as if they're like replaceable is so stupid.
And it's just so crazy that they haven't learned their lesson. Like looking at Roni, looking at Vanderpump Villa, like I don't know. I want to have a chat with Alex Baskin, the executive producer. Like, what? Yeah. That's his title, right?
Yeah, he's executive producer.
What are we doing? Like, what? Yeah. I just, like, how can you read the room so poorly?
Yeah, like, I can understand why they think that there's nothing else to tell there. And maybe we'll, like, book in that part of the conversation for, like, when we get into the Schwartz and Sandys of it all. Mm-hmm. But I guess tonight is the night that I'm bringing up, like, reality TV shows that are unrelated to Bravo. But for anybody that watched Girls Next Door, this was a TV show that took place in the early 2000s. They were, like, 3 girlfriends of Hugh Hefner's living at the Playboy Mansion. And they always told Holly, Bridget, and Kendra, like, because I've listened to their podcast, they always told them, the 3 of you are replaceable. You are just 3 anonymous blondes. You could be anybody. And so from season 1 to 5, you know, they're girlfriends. They're having a good time. They're doing great stuff, whatever. It's hilarious. It's, like, literally my favorite rewatch show. And then season 5, all of them move out. Kendra leaves, Bridget leaves, Holly leaves. And then season 6 comes along and they replace them all with these new girlfriends being like, this is the same. We have the formula. We know how this works. And you know how many seasons that lasted past them leaving? 1. They got season 6 and then it was done. These people are not replaceable. Like, these people are not interchangeable. These people, like, are crucial to everything. Like, yeah, Hugh Hefner is not the show. Lisa Vanderpump is not the show.
No, that's it. Oh, that's a hilarious comparison. Like, but this is it, right? Like, yes, the premise was good and it's interesting, but, like, we are so attached to these people at this point. And yeah, I know that however it came back, we were probably going to have some gripes with, but it's just, like, to end it like this just feels so brutal. I also know for a fact that Sandoval is going to blame Ariana for this. He's going to for sure be like, it's because you wouldn't, you know, have fake conversations with me.
Exactly. It's your fault. It's Raquel's fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's definitely not my fault. That's for sure.
It's also just so crazy. I'm seeing, like, all the chatter online of everyone talking. It's like, it's kind of, obviously, you know, you can't blame it on just one thing, but it's like, mm-hmm. I think a big part of the reason they're in the place that it is now is, like, the cast, you know, the fans have reacted. We felt it was really inauthentic. And it's just, like, all the things that, you know, Lala, Sandoval, Sheena to an extent, mm-hmm. obviously Alex Baskin, like, all the things that they did last year to try to save the show, I think is what, you know, tanked the show.
Yeah, 100%, without a doubt. I also kind of wonder how much, like, money and salaries ended up kind of, like, becoming, like, the thing that, like, kind of was, like, the nail in the coffin, because
probably a lot.
I think they've, you know, they're all tenured. They all, like, are making, you know, really nice money from this show.
11
and if they
years.
Don't think that 11 years worth of money from this show, and if they don't see storylines, they don't see potential on where this could go, then why would you pay this cast a premium when you could bring in all these newbies and pay them pennies, which I'm sure they are.
For sure. Well, they even say your first few seasons, you make, like, almost nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. Charlie said that it was Charlie, who was on Vanderpump Rules. That Charlie, yeah, whatever. To clarify, basically said that, like, her waitressing job at a club was more lucrative than being on Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah, so, that's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure money played into it a lot. We did hear a lot of, like, contract negotiations and like, was holding it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's just like, so I guess that part, it's like, at the end of the day, it's a business, right? Like, they don't care. That's what like Ryan Bailey was saying, so bad it's good. I was trying to, like, listen to it a little bit this morning when I got up. It's like, ultimately, like, it's like, we want to wrap this up in a pretty bow, but, like, to them, that's not their ultimate goal. Like, they're here to make money. But it's like, this was Bravo's cash cow. Like, this was Bravo's highest watched and rated reality television show. I'm sure this wasn't a decision that they took lightly either.
No, that's true. They definitely didn't make it lightly. And honestly, like, I guess in some ways we just kind of have to be happy that they had this like renaissance, and they kind of got like this like resurgence of like popularity and resurgence of kind of like a really interesting storyline in the last couple of seasons. Because, you know, with season 9, the way that like things were going, like it didn't look super promising. But then season 10 came and it was amazing. And, you know, like it kind of gave all the cast at least like some really good opportunities to be able to get some more exposure. And now that it is ending, like hopefully they can all kind of like figure out what their next steps are.
Yeah, I think the biggest gripe that I have is really just that they're rebooting it and they're keeping the name. Like, it's just like, it will never, you'll never be there. Like, literally, it's going to be so hard. Like, we're all just going to like begrudgingly watch it for a second. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll be eating our words and it'll be like the best thing ever. But it's just like,
whatever.
I just kind of feel like if we're going to give it this big, you know, ending, and we're gonna give it this big like it's been amazing, and we're gonna like send them off, and even Andy's gonna be posting about it, like if I almost feel like they should just end it and like make a different show that Lisa Vanderpump wants to do, because Vanderpump Rules is sacred.
Yes, how dare you. Hashtag not my Vanderpump Rules. I know. Well, and so I do think it is interesting, and because like with the news of Schwartz and Sandy's, obviously before we found out that Vanderpump Rules was being fully recast, I actually kind of got excited because I was like, oh my God, this is a storyline. This is a thing that I would love to see like reflected in the TV show. Like it would be so interesting to kind of like have the you know, the start to finish of Schwartz and Sandy's unfolds on reality TV. I was like, how quickly can we get production up and like be able to start to film this? And we were literally just like, no.
We were literally like, we need Andy and a camera in the episode that maybe we'll release as like a random Christmas thing for you to just like laugh and
oh, these people are so silly and stupid. Yeah, exactly. Little did they know what was really coming.
The hopes that we had yesterday. We were literally deciphering like Tom Sandoval versus Tom Schwartz's like statements and like trying to read between the lines of what that meant. And now we're like, well, that is no longer breaking news.
No. Well, I mean, I think it's still interesting news.
It's true.
But it's not the newest news is the problem.
So that's what's interesting is I think we saw that as like, oh wow, like that's interesting, like now they'll probably pick up filming again because there's something to film. But you know, another thing that's being thought is that, or being said out there, is that they got the news, like Tom and Tom got the news about Vanderpump Rules not coming back, and then maybe that's what made them be like, okay, let's just pull the trigger, because like it sounds like the only thing that they had to rely on probably was the fans coming in. Like I don't think they were doing super well outside of people who knew Vanderpump Rules. And as Tom Sandoval's girlfriend says, you know, just like feel so bad for them because, you know, like they couldn't even put the sign outside and people didn't know where Schwartz and Sandy's was, and that's why
it didn't work.
Although it does make more sense why she said, I wish you could have promoted it on the show as planned.
Oh, what does Victoria know?
Did Victoria know?
I don't know. Like I have a hard time knowing or kind of like telling if it was just time for Schwartz and Sandy's to close and it happened to coincide, or if it truly is like one caused the other. Because like I can see a world in which like, okay, we no longer going to have like the supplemental income of Vanderpump Rules on top of like whatever we're trying to like get through with the bar. So we just have to like make the decision and like try to cut our losses and walk away with whatever we can, whatever's left.
Honestly, it's a bad week for the Toms, for Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz. Like that's rough. They just lost two sources of income at the same time.
Two sources of income at the same time. I wonder, do we think they're still partners in Tom Tom? Like, do we think that's still
it does seem like they still have Tom Tom.
Okay. Not that I care for Tom Sandoval, but I obviously care for Tom Schwartz, at least a little bit, even though he drives me crazy.
Yeah, no, same. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I just I wanted to talk a little bit just about how some of the cast are reacting to the news of Vanderpump Rules. Lala was the first person to kind of confirm it. It's kind of like when Scandival happened, and it's like you see the news, James and you're like, Kennedy. No, I don't believe it, and then we had James Kennedy. So Lala kind of posted. Everyone was very nice and just kind of being like, this show did everything for them, and they have the best cast and best crew. One thing that was interesting about Lala is that she started being like, I'm just a girl from Salt Lake City and my name was Lauren. It's like, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Lauren from Utah, as the internet calls her. And she says that like she doesn't like change, but this is different. So it's like, that's just such a weird thing to say to the person who was just like went on a crusade against Ariana because she quote unquote was like ruining the show and taking away her money.
Yeah. I mean, and now that she Lala, whatever, has put out this statement too, it kind of makes me think back about the fact that like her assistant Jess just left, because I'm like, I wonder if it was like, if this was like, I obviously know that like she probably didn't know, but also like if you don't have an additional, like if you're going to lose that income, like you probably do kind of like start to scale back on like, okay, how many people can I really keep like employed here? This whole give them Lala empire running.
There's gonna be so many conspiracies coming out of this. I know. Well, I don't know, like in the article they said they were just told, but it's possible for sure.
Well, just told, but probably kind of like, because it was like such a prolonged kind of like time between like finding out like what was actually going to happen. Like I think you probably start to like clutch your purse strings. What is it? Like,
clutch your pearls. Well, this is it. And it's also just like, Lala, like what did you think was going to happen when you went on all of these interviews being like, there's no more stories to be told, the show is ruined,
we're not friends, I don't talk to Katie, I don't talk to anybody, that was that whole weird Tom Schwartz thing for like 2 seconds like before, but other than that
it's just like, obviously it's not, you can't just put it all on her, but it's just like all of these things kind of like come together. And
but she certainly didn't help the matter, I think is
I don't think she helped it at all.
Safe assessment.
Ariana posted too, and she was just like, VPR will always be that girl, and then she thanked the cast and the crew, and just like everything Ariana does, it was just filled with poise and grace.
It was amazing. I also love that she like put together this photo montage, and like in all of the photos she managed to keep Sandoval and Lala out of every single one of them. Tom Schwartz even made an appearance, guys.
Yeah, that was clever. That was really clever. That was she made a statement without saying anything, for sure.
I love it.
Katie kind of has mainly just been like posting old pictures. It's just
which
like,
I love,
it hits you right in the feels.
It really does. I'm sure she'll approach it on her podcast too with Dana when that comes out next, and I'm sure we'll hear about it on Shenanigans.
That's true.
A little bit more processing to come with all of that.
Maybe there will finally be something about her spinoff.
That would be fun. I would love that. I do have a hard time believing that there was no way that they could make this work with like a semblance of the old cast. Like Tom and Tom at Tom Tom, something about her just down the street from, Sir, like all of it still in proximity. That was the whole thing with like Pump and Tom Tom and Lisa Vanderpump running from place to place during Gay Pride. I just don't believe that this couldn't have worked.
I know. I wonder if we're gonna like hear more about what actually happened and like why they chose to do this. Because it just, they've given us more with less. Like they've kept things running much past their time. Like why was this the one?
Right.
It's just like wild.
I know. I feel like so many other things have like continued to hobble along and just be like acceptable. And this is just, it's at least, I guess the nice thing is that we can say gone too soon. Like, right. Like even though last season was like torture and like really hard to watch in a lot of ways. And like it wasn't going in a direction that was positive. We at least can kind of like mourn it and not be like at the point where we're like, oh my god, get Ramona and Sonia and Luann and Dorinda off our screens. Like it is time, this is done. Like we were really feeling that way about Roni, and like I at least appreciate that we can like miss VPR.
It is true, and it's just like I keep saying it, we already talked about it, but it's just like the way that everyone on the network has been just packaging this as like, you know, saluting to what has happened and just like acknowledging this like this crazy iconic moment is just like, it just really, it's hard to not get super emotional in it. Like it's just crazy. And it also means that they knew what it was. Like they knew that this was a big deal and they couldn't just like be like, shh, goodbye.
Well, and I think it also goes to show that like this show in particular is so much about the cast, because housewives kind of like come and go, right? Like we're used to like the churn of the housewives of like, you know, sometimes you get a one season wonder, sometimes you get people who like come and go for like long periods of time. Like you have a person like Nene or Portia who kind of like dips in and out from Atlanta. You have people like Kyle Richards who's been on the show the entire time. Like the housewives have like kind of their own cadence where like they come and go, and they like, you know, there's a little bit more of like an ebb and flow, and like even we know that there's a possibility that one day Lisa Rinna will return to our screens.
Oh god.
It could happen, period. We have to be prepared. But like that's like, because the thing is the housewives, like while there's usually like a key figure like a Teresa or something like at the helm of the show, like there is still kind of like a, this is just like these housewives and whoever is the assembly of the cast in that current season. But we've had such a core cast with Vanderpump Rules for such a long time that we're really like mourning the people that are
such a long time. Also, like it also got an entirely new fan base with Scandival, right? Like I know so many people who started watching it from the beginning, and it's like all of these people, and then what they got was season 11, and then nothing.
Like, I'm sorry that the first season that you guys got to watch live was season 11. That's pure torture.
Like this show literally, it penetrated, like it went beyond the Bravo bubble, which is very difficult. Like literally, like my mom knew the word Scandival. Like
it was talked about on CNN, guys. That's what they love to let us know. Like it's global.
it's just like it's really accomplished something that is like kind of like unseen before, and it's just like the weight that this show holds. Anywho, as we said, Sheena did eventually post. But Sheena posted a collage of photos, and the music was unwritten.
Sheena, she's such a millennial.
Unwritten, and I think she literally ended it with like the rest is still unwritten. ... And it was so Sheena, and I loved it.
It's so funny because it's such like a part 2 of the It's All Happening. It's like the rest is still unwritten.
Did you see people wrote like it happened?
It happened. I know, I did see that.
Oh, so sad.
She's a good sport.
Yeah, Lisa posted a really short post, and it was like honestly rude.
It was
like
so rude.
She was just like, thank you to the cast for sharing their lives. I have loved you all. Like, well, she was literally like, oh, how I've loved you. I'm like, how you loved them? Like you don't like past?
Yeah, that's just it. Like you guys are no longer of worth to me. You know, guys no longer are providing me money. So it's been real. See ya.
You have started to overtake me in popularity, and this simply will not do.
It was unacceptable that people thought that I wasn't a pivotal part of this show. So now who's the pivotal part of this show?
Was it only last week that we got like the rumors that Lisa was out? That Lisa was no longer going to be in the show?
Oh, I don't know. That was definitely this month. I can't tell if it was this week.
Imagine she was like, this will not do. Eject.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I just...
I don't know. Okay, I don't know if you saw this, but I just wanted to bring it up. Did you see that Joe, like...
I did,
posted a really weird, like, unhinged video? It was giving Chelsea from Southern Charm to... I was just like
Chelsea.
Chelsea. Oh my God, not Chelsea. Oh, I'm so sorry, Chelsea. Who is the crazy one? I just was watching this. The one who called Catherine an egg donor. Yes, Ashley. It was giving Ashley. I'm so sorry, Chelsea. Yeah. Literally, she gets on a story and she starts talking about how sad she is, and she's like, because apparently she was friends with the cast, even though we didn't think that she was friends with the cast. And then she went on and talked about how it's hard to get broken up with on reality TV, and now we know how it feels. I was just like, I'm sorry, this time is not for you. Please take a seat.
Didn't she also say like, oh, I know a lot of people that like work at SUR, and like I'm here to like help if you need it? Is that accurate.
Yeah, it was just like, it was very odd. I don't know why she felt the need. She's also like, oh, I was on Vanderpump Rules season 11. I was like, okay, barely. I don't know. Maybe I'm being mean, but I was just like, we're in mourning.
You're part of what was wrong with season 11.
Yeah, like we're like this is a moment. We're like, we don't. It was just so weird. It was like Ariana, Lala, Katie, Schwartz, Joe.
Yeah, why not? Just throw that in there. Why not?
Yeah. So I don't think Sandoval said anything yet.
No.
Honestly, if we're gonna blame anyone, I feel good blaming him. I feel okay with that.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like that's appropriate. I think that she's the best person to hold responsible for this.
So okay, thinking about the new reboot that apparently is going to start filming next year. I think it's hard. I think they have an uphill battle because we're just going to go into it being like, you're not them. And I also think they're going to know that and they're going to be aware of that. And it's going to be hard for them to not, produce themselves or like, amp it up.
That's just it. I'm like, okay, so what is this cast going to be? Is this going to be Gen Z? Like, what's the age group kind of going to be like?
I think it's like younger than Gen Z. Gen Z's already in the workforce.
Make it workforce. I don't think Gen Alpha is in the workforce yet. Gen Alpha.
That's true.
When is
That's
that?
true. Maybe it's like the elder Gen Zs, like the elder millennials.
I think it could be younger Gen Zs. No, so Gen Alpha is born early 2010s. Okay. So it's still Gen
So
Z.
They have a little bit of time before they're going to serve.
Yeah, but because I think Gen Z is like 29 and down at this point. Like I think they're
right. So that's what I meant. Like the older Gen Z is working, but then the younger Gen Z, I guess, is like Southern hospitality. Anyways. It's fine.
It's like the math. I just can't even figure it out. Like it's impossible to
math
say.
Isn't mathing.
Yeah, but that's just it. Like I felt like what I kind of loved about Vanderpump Rules is that they were all kind of like with a couple exceptions, like they were all kind of like in their 30s. Like they weren't like super young. They still like, they were kind of like screw ups. They were kind of broke. Like there were so many good little things kind of happening. And I'm kind of like, okay, so are all these people going to be like Instagram models and like influencers?
But
like,
this is
what are they
like
going to be?
Even Southern Hospitality, right? Like the first season, we were like, oh my God, I can't with these girls. We're being introduced to them being like, so we went to Tulum and we took these it was just like, it's very influencer. Like they know what they're doing. The same with Roni. Roni's a lot of like social media influencers. Yeah, they're older, but it's just like, I think it's also, it's just an era in time as well, right? Like times have just changed and we're not going to get that again.
Yeah.
But then again, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was really good. And that just happened. So I don't know.
That's true. That was incredible. And those people are in their 20s and early 30s. So maybe 22 to 30-year-olds can kind of make some good content. I guess we'll have to find out. You're right. I think they have an uphill battle. I think it's going to be really difficult to kind of like win over a fan base that is still this wrapped up in the current cast. And yeah, it feels like a mistake.
It feels like a mistake. The reboot specifically, it's just like no one is asking for reboots. Like find something new, Bravo. Like this is the moment. Like push yourself outside. We want more content. It's just like, don't repackage the same thing and try to say it's the same. Like I don't know. But also it has me thinking like, what do we think is going to happen to this cast? Like I do feel like we're still going to see them. Like almost all of them have podcasts. I think Schwartz is now going to have a podcast.
Oh really? Oh,
like I think we'll still know what's happening in their life, but like what? Oh, actually, also, you remember when we were reading the Vanity Fair article about Sandoval, and it was like this man has been so molded by reality television that even when you're having a normal conversation with him and we're not filming, if a car goes by, he'll like stop because he's so trained.
Yeah.
How do they function in life now?
That's just it. How do you become like a normal person? Like, how do you go become like, I don't know, a dentist or something? Like,
well, I don't, maybe. You go to the dentist, it's like Sandoval, you're like, I'm good.
But like, like to a certain extent, like that is like sometimes what happens when people have to like leave, like, okay, I do unfortunately think that like there's a career out there for Sandoval to kind of like ride this ride this as like the villain. Like, I think that that's totally doable. House of Villains. Like, I think there's like so many things. He's on Traitors now. Like, I think there's room for him in the reality TV world. Unfortunately, Big Brother, I could see him on so many of these things.
Yeah. Life after Vanderpump. Oh my God, they should all go on the challenge.
Can you imagine? That would be hilarious.
Sheena would be like, I can't, my nails, I can't make a fist.
Can't make a fist, can't do it. Can't climb this rope. Yeah. Sheena, Lala, Katie, like they all have podcasts now. So like that seems like that will probably be kind of like their main thing.
Ariana's just taking over the world.
One I'm like the most concerned about because I genuinely don't know. Like other than like keeping his business with our LVP going, like I just don't see how there's much else there. Like I don't know. He didn't finish medical school. He can't go back to being a model, can he?
There was also a post that was like, how long until the Toms' girlfriends break up with them?
Well, yeah, exactly. Right now they're not going to be on. Wow, that's at least the one silver lining is that we won't have to see them on the next season of Vanderpump Rules.
They're so upset for sure. Yeah. Well, we'll pour one out for Vanderpump Rules. I'm sure that this is not going to be the last time we talk about it. Also, just like I want to take a moment, like Vanderpump Rules is truly what grew this podcast as well. And you guys have all been on this journey with us. Literally, that was our first episode, I think. Like I think it talked about Roni a bit because Vanderpump wasn't coming on for the moment.
Yeah, but that's okay.
But then we did like a compare and contrast. We were comparing Southern Hospitality to Vanderpump Rules.
Oh my God, like, I forgot about that.
We reached 1,000 subscribers during that time. Like Vanderpump Rules is also so entrenched with this podcast. So I just want to take a moment to be like, thank you guys so much for being on this ride. It is not over. Okay, we are going to continue. We have rewatches. We also have other Bravo things, and we want to start to go outside of Bravo too. But I don't know. That's probably why I'm also feeling like even more emotional.
Yeah, just because we're never going to get to like recap another Roni season, VPR season. Like, I mean, I guess we can recap another VPR season, but.
I mean, we'll be there. We'll begrudgingly, tell you how the new season is for sure. But
we'll be there. They won't be there. That's the problem.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts. Tell us your favorite memories from Vanderpump Rules. What do you think about this reboot? Are you okay?
We're gonna make it gay. We're gonna make it.
We're in this together. Yeah. Do you want us to release the Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval, Schwartz and Sandy's closing episode for funsies?
just for shits and gigs, because we can.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it.
Okay. Have a good night, Iris.
Thank you. Bye.